All right, apparently the NBA had a sit down with all their teams in the bubble, and the Lakers and the Clippers voted to opt out of the rest of the NBA playoffs. Let's talk about it. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. It pretty much all started with George Hill basically telling the Milwaukee Bucks and starting the idea that they boycott Game 5 due to what happened in Wisconsin with the black man that was gunned down by the police. By the way, he's still alive. His father says he's paralyzed from the waist down. And from there, it's a trickle-down effect. Now, Toronto was talking about doing a boycott, but they swept the Brooklyn Nets. So their game wasn't until, I think, sometime this weekend. Game 1 versus the Celtics, I think, was going to kick off. So George Hill pretty much started the whole situation. And you'll see with the screenshots coming up shortly. And Udonis Haslem basically recommended if the Lakers and Clippers walked out, this thing was going to be over with. And like I said, the Lakers and Clippers have voted to boycott the NBA season. Most other teams voted to continue. LeBron James has exited the meeting. Udonis Haslem essentially told everyone in the room that without the Lakers and Clippers, how would the season continue? LeBron walked out. Rest of the Lakers and Clippers exited behind him. Every team besides the Lakers and Clippers voted to continue playing. LeBron said in the meeting he wanted owners to be more involved and take action. I don't know what he wants the owners to do. I don't know how this is going to solve a problem. All right. When Kaepernick was kneeling and doing his thing a few years ago, the NBA put their heads together with their players union and they voted not to, publicly protest during games or during the national anthem. And that was the first year they started basically wearing endorsements on their jersey. So, they didn't want to lose no endorsements. My whole thing is we beyond kneeing, we beyond protesting, we beyond begging. It's going to keep happening. All right. We protested with Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown down there in D.C., Eric Gardner, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. When the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same result. We've been protesting for many years now. Peaceful protests, violent protests is going back to the Black Panthers, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. It's been all types of protests, and the same thing continues to happen time and time again. Protests, burning down our own cities is not the answer. We have to take an alternative route, and these NBA players kneeling and failing to pretty much continue on with the season ain't going to solve nothing either. Now, if the players going to leave the bubble and going to start taking physical action, in Wisconsin, then that might be a step forward. But at this point, I said it from the beginning, all right? I said that the season didn't need to start due to everything that's going on outside. Austin Rivers said that they can cause distraction from what's going on outside. He literally said that word from word, and I've been saying it from the beginning. They didn't need to start back there in Orlando, with everything that's going on. You guys ripped me in the comment section. Some guys agreed with me. A lot of guys didn't. When I told you that this bubble thing was going to have an asterisk by it, it was going to be tough. And it turned out in the beginning to be good. And then it kind of tapered off to being the referee show and then, the foul show. But at the same time, I told Kyrie Irving, y'all owe him an apology. At the end of the day, this thing wasn't going to stop. You had Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and then you had George Floyd all back to back. And then somebody else down there in Atlanta got killed and somebody burned down a Wendy's, whatever the situation may be. All right. Right now, it's a time for us to really chop up our differences and then eventually heal. But there was some frustration in the meeting room and the meeting towards the Bucks blindsiding on a walkout plan. Bucks George Hill admitted he first sparked the conversation pregame to boycott the contest. Teammates supported. So they was mad at the Bucks for basically blindsiding the whole situation and basically not letting people know and putting the memo out what they was going to do. But then again, how can you be mad at them and vent their frustration? And this is where a lot of these players lay their heads at. A lot of their families lay their heads at in Wisconsin, where this just happened to a black man. It should be no frustration towards the Milwaukee Bucks. All right. A lot of them got spouses and family members that's in Wisconsin right now. And then you got a armed assailant that was down there gunning down protesters. All right. Like I said before, why would you be frustrated from the team that's from that area? But I get it. Players was ready to play. And basically it sparked the thing. And, you know, Milwaukee ain't got to worry about having Giannis. They're going to get him up out of here if they mess up this money in the bubble. The NBA spent a tremendous amount of money in the bubble, transferring conference rooms into basketball courts, you know, building amenities, building barbershops. They got to continue this after they put so much money into it. But I said before, don't throw away 2 seasons trying to save one. And that's what they did. It's going to be a point in time where players going to leave the bubble and going to want to be with their family. And, you know, it is what it is. Ain't none of these dudes going to make the sacrifice that needs to be made for this to get done. Nobody in Black America is be willing to make the sacrifice. All right, nobody's ready for a civil war. Nobody's ready for a revolution. Nobody's willing to take one for the team and use an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth mentality. And that's what it's going to take. You know, people say you can't fight hate with hate. I don't believe that bull jive. At the end of the day, you take one of ours, we supposed to take 2 or 3 of yours. And right now, the reason why these officers and people feel so comfortable to make citizen arrests and kill us is because we haven't retaliated. All they see is we retaliate towards each other over iPhones, stepping on shoes, bad Jordan deals, selling dogs going wrong, whatever it may be, getting drunk at the parties. And we don't have no issue throwing our life away for another brother or sister. But when it comes to Zimmerman, when it comes to these cops, you know, or whatever situation may be, all we do is want to, you know, sing "We Shall Overcome" and picket and all that other stuff. Until we prove that we ain't to be messed with, this going to continue to happen. And if it continues to happen, then nobody's going to be safe, you know, as far as us black people. But at the end of the day, you know, there's a post going around on Facebook saying, share this if you've been held up at gunpoint by the police. And a lot of people shared it. I shared it. I was in high school and, you know, I was accused of doing something that I didn't do with a few other friends by the narcos. And they held us at gunpoint, surrounded our car like we was, you know, in a drug dealer. We had killed somebody, and it wasn't even that serious what we was being accused of. But it's sad that we got to walk around with our license on our dash, our registration license on our dash. You got to drive around like that so it don't seem like we reaching for nothing, all right? And that's just a sad circumstance. And a lot of times cops have bad days like we do, and they go out there with vendettas and do stuff just out of frustration. And maybe they were scared because that man was reaching in his car. They could have tased him before he got that car or took him down or beat him with a nightstick or whatever they had to do. But, hey, it is what it is. I don't see how this is going to change anything by them not playing basketball at this point. I don't see none of these dudes making a sacrifice that need to be made. At the end of the day, they go around saying they're more than an athlete, but when Kaepernick needed y'all support before he sacrificed his job, ain't none of you dudes support him. Y'all start wearing that number 7 jersey when his job was long gone, and he still don't have a job. So, you know, with all the NFL teams or some of them trying to boycott, save it, bruh, y'all had your opportunities to step up and, you know, show up and show out and really help the cause. And a lot of these people don't care about the cause. It's a front. If they did, they would have supported what Kaepernick was talking about years ago. But, you know, pray for the man. It's sad that he ain't walking right now. Hopefully he regained, you know, feeling in his legs and he able to walk and raise his kids. But know about the money they give him is going to be able to, you know, bring, you know, take away that trauma that he went through, even if he walk again. And it's sad. But shout out to George Hill for coming up with the idea. I'm not knocking him, but it's to the point where, you know what, it's just nothing that you guys can do. All right. There's no sacrifice you're going to be willing to make. All these people out here with these platforms talking about, you know, education reform, police reform, and what we need to do. Well, we need you up in Wisconsin and, you know, articulating to us how we need to go about this. But, you know, it's sad that they had to get down like this, but it's not going to stop. It's not going to be the last situation unless they nip it in the bud, and they're not going to nip it in the bud, you know. And it's sad, but hey, check out our NBA Talk playlist for more videos like this. Don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out if you got business, question, inquiry, sponsorship, video requests. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, in that order. We also have a Facebook group if you want to check that out. Want to make a donation? Cash App, PayPal, description. Best way to donate is to continue to share the videos, and let me know what you guys think about the Lakers and the Clippers basically voting to not continue the NBA season because they got the juice. But hey, shout out to George Hill. We see what these players do. If they continue on, if they don't, I mean, life goes on. One time for the one time. Goodfellas Sports TV. It's your boy CJ Goodfellas. Check out our NBA Talk playlist for more NBA videos. We gone.